Welcome back with another bang. It's the React Pals. Hope you're having a good night. Let's get straight to it.
Holy f***. Almost just f***ing died, boys.
So many of you asking me to comment on the Sean Ryan podcast. So what I'm being told is that the validity of the email and its contents is in question. There are several items within the email that are allegedly false. And that this person told me day one, before this became a massive conversation about the Dior bags, that if our government tries to tell us that they're from China, these bags are from China, that we have an issue, that would be very alarming and that I should GTFO. That's literally what was said to me. Don't know anything, and these guys on the Sean Ryan podcast are infinitely more smart than I am and experienced and knowledgeable, but I also understand now that this is complicated 4D chess and that things can be placed into the media intentionally so a frenzy is created, not unlike the Dior bags and the accessories. It feels like several things are happening at the same time, from unprecedented fog to plane issues to New Orleans and Vegas. So it does feel like something is at large and in motion. And I will just tell you that from the very beginning, this person said to me, if it starts being put into the media that they're China, that it's false and the Dior bags are ours. So this will happen, and that would be alarming. That's all that I know. Seriously, just a messenger and mom with 2 furry rescue dogs and a daughter. Like, honestly, above my pay grade, but I do understand the information that people are conveying to me.
Shout out to Bethany Frankel, making some great points right there. A lot of us are questioning the validity of this email. I'm getting them leave the world behind vibes.
Went out and we decided to do a drone patrol, more or less. And we took our tethered drone, which you see over here, that the officers are demonstrating, and we put it up in the air on Saturday night a week ago. At that time, Sergeant Fennessy, who's an experienced drone operator and pilot, and Officer D'Amico spotted one of the items that brought us concern. They videotaped it as far as they were. They got some tape on it. They described it as going around their drone and traveling off at a high rate of speed, and reported to us that it was, they felt it was 60 miles an hour or more. And it put it in perspective, our drones only go about 40 miles an hour. So, that's number one. Sunday night, we were out again. This time was, Sergeant Fennessy once again. And at that point, we got notified by our 911 center there was concern of a sighting in Island Beach State Park. We responded. We met a officer, a certified New Jersey officer, not from our department, from another agency. And that officer did an excellent job. She documented. That's where you're getting the reports of 50 drones coming off the ocean. That's what she reported seeing. She was on duty at the time, and she reports that she saw 50 drones.
This lady says she's seen 50 drones coming off the ocean. Now, I was pretty sure they was coming from that direction. I was thinking more of 4 or 5 drones. This lady said 50.
So the Tesla Cybertruck car bombing in Las Vegas has turned into the craziest, reverse psyop story ever. And it's still developing, but I'm going to run through all of the evidence in all directions that I have found so far. So hopefully it's easy to kind of pick up where we're at right now and see what comes next. First thing, super iconic. Not an accident. But the question is, not an accident, why? And who's actually behind it? Because the media is pinning everything on Matthew Allen Livelsberger because they found his passport and his ID and a bunch of stuff of his in the car. Though the car blew up, passports always survive. And he's an active duty Green Beret that's been stationed mostly out of Germany and Colorado. And the Green Beret community is digging into this deep and getting sources. And there's so much that's not adding up. And then yesterday, I think it was, the plot super duper thickened when the Sean Ryan show had this whole expose on this whistleblower scenario where he had Sam Shoemate on, who had apparently gotten an email from this Green Beret dude the day before the bombing. And the email is crazy spicy, but it's a little suspicious. If you haven't seen the Sean Ryan Show podcast episode yet, you should watch at least the first 30 to 45 minutes. Put it on 2 times speed. You should not believe everything that is said at face value. Remember, both these guys are military intelligence assets, former and current. This is the alleged email that Mr. Shoemate received. But notice that there are spell check red squigglies in here. And there's a cursor. And we've learned this before. This is not how an email appears when it is received in your inbox. This is how an email appears when you're typing it. But this is what the Sean Ryan Show put out as the email that was received, allegedly. And it alleges that the drones over the East Coast are Chinese tech and that they could bomb the White House at any minute. And it's like this whole, basically it alleges that World War III is about to happen between the US and China and there's nothing we can do to stop it. And he's like trying to be a whistleblower to like stop it. But if this email is real, it's like the perfect food for the military-industrial complex and for World War III warmongering. But it gets weirder. So the Las Vegas officials and the FBI, who are totally trustworthy, have been assessing the scene. Hey, Gigi, don't do that. Stay over there. That's where they found the passport. They also found an incinerated desert eagle, which apparently he used to shoot himself in the head before the explosion. It was dropped on the floor right in between his feet in the driver's seat. And if you know anything about how powerful these guns are, and you imagine shooting yourself in the head with it and then it dropping straight down instead of like just flying into the not to mention that no one has reported any report from a gunshot in the car at the scene at the time. And that is like the most powerful handgun you can buy. A whole conspiracy on this thread is Teslas can drive themselves. And I don't know if anyone's ever tested the self-driving because it'll watch you. And if you don't look upwards, it'll tell you to look or it'll stop the self-driving. So you can't just look down at your phone or close your eyes and go to sleep. But has anyone ever tried it with a dead body that has its eyes open? Because that is probably possible. It's unclear. Because allegedly the remains of the person found in the front seat, though charred, burnt beyond recognition, the DNA did not match the DNA of this guy's recent child. Apparently his wife just broke up with him and they were trying to paint that as like he's angry. It's like Green Berets get divorces all the time. Like maybe the kid wasn't his kid. I think it's more likely that the body wasn't his body. Because again, in the email that was allegedly sent by him, theoretically, it's very clear that he's not planning to kill himself. He's planning to escape to Mexico and to do this whole thing in order to bring attention to this and to whistleblow and to be taken seriously and to get this out to as much news and publicity as possible and then escape to Mexico. He says it 2 different times in this email. The trunk was loaded up with all these crazy fireworks and there was some gas cans in the cab that caused the explosion to it's a little unclear, but it seems like the explosion was intended to not cause a bunch of death, but just to cause a scene. Like he chose a Cybertruck, which is bulletproof, like the worst car to build a car bomb in. And then he filled it with fireworks instead of he's a Green Beret. He could have built a real high, power IED that could have blown the building up, theoretically. And then he says in the letter that he's trying to keep a low profile because he's being followed and they attempted to abduct him, but also that he's trying to keep a high profile because they know he has this IED, this car bomb rigged up. And so he got a Cybertruck, which is like, why would you get a Cybertruck? The police have had no trouble tracking the Cybertruck both in Las Vegas on CCTV footage and on its supercharger route across the country. The police said that they have tracked the purchase of the firearm, specifically the Desert Eagle, back in Colorado. There's a 3-day wait on purchasing a firearm in Colorado, so we had to have initiated the purchase 3 days before leaving Colorado to come to Las Vegas for this event. But then in the email, he gives as confirmation that he is who he says he is. First off, I'm not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. Well, people verified. People pulled his vehicle records and actually he has never owned a 1996, was it? Ford Mustang, or a 2006 Ford Mustang, but his first car was a Ford Mustang, just totally different year. So it's not really could be that because it's 30 years ago, it's his own car 20 years ago and he just forgot the year. It could be why would you put the wrong verification in? You'd think if it was someone else faking the letter, they would get the right verification because they wanted it to get verified. You think if it was him, maybe he misremembered it. Maybe it's an intentional misverification. People are like, oh, maybe it was in his parents' name because everyone's first cars are in their parents' name. Well, people pulled his parents' car records too. Check out Landry22 if you want to see those on X. But then the Las Vegas police, the officials, released like manifestos that they found on his phone, which was like charred to oblivion. But they found these manifestos that like, this one is basically like, yo, all military personnel, go and take the Capitol right now. It's like really unhinged and retarded. And the other one, like, it's just like screenshot and read if you want. Like, the other one is just so weird. Then they released like video from his Tesla Cybertruck at the supercharge station that they said was in Las Vegas, but the internet has sleuthed around and pretty much confirmed that actually that was not in Las Vegas. It was in Arizona because there's a Carl's Jr. Next to the supercharge station. They were looking for photos where there's a supercharge station and a Carl's Jr. and it's in Kingman, Arizona, which is that stop right there before getting to Las Vegas. Plus the Green Beret chatter on YouTube and X and everyone in the Green Beret and like special forces communities that are commenting on this saying it does not line up at all. Like he did not have the expertise to understand this kind of stuff about drones. He did not have the clearance. He wasn't even like stationed in the places where they said he was stationed. It's all very sus. Not to mention that he was like a TV star with Tim Kennedy like 10 years ago on some like special forces like game show, TV show, whole other funny rabbit hole. But a bunch of guys know this guy. Like a bunch of people on the internet right now have done operations and missions with him or trained with him or been stationed with him. So there's a lot floating around and I don't have any answers. I don't know what's going on, but one thing that we can all agree on is that if the evidence starts pointing towards a war with China or a war with Iran or a war with Russia, it's probably the deep state setting you up for that war. And if I had to guess right now, here's what I would guess was going on. The military industrial complex is learning as we go, and they are wise to the way this world works. And seeing how X has debunked all their other bullshit this last year, I'd bet right now it looks like they decided, what if we need to start our psyops using the decentralized media space as our patsy, as our pipeline of information to deliver the information so that the internet thinks it's real. So the internet thinks it's coming from inside the house, right? And so they concoct a situation in which a known and trusted and verified internet sleuth, this dude on Instagram, who is like a military whistleblower, like hub. He's like the dude for military whistleblowers to go to. It makes sense that this guy would go to him. And so they concoct this email that goes out to him, and they concoct this scenario whereby it looks like either they got this guy and he's on the payroll, like this Green Beret guy is like in the op, or they captured him and are using him as a patsy, as the fall guy for the op. And it looks like they're feeding the information out into sort of vetted social media decentralized channels so that we are the ones producing the PSYOP ourselves. And it's just the source information that is actually manipulated. That is what it looks like right now. And keep your eyes peeled, stay frosty, don't believe a single fucking thing you see. And if any of it points to war with Iran or China or Russia, even if it seems credible, it's fucking not. Doesn't matter. We're not going to war.
Wow, we definitely needed this. Shout outs to Ian Carroll. Pretty much the same thing Beverly Markle said. I like how he broke this down because it's very eye-opening, things that he's mentioning here. I know suddenly we're not hearing about Diddy. Nobody's really talking about Luigi no more. Believe nothing you see and stay frosty.
We are seeing for the first time these chilling images of Jabbar walking the French quarters back in October. It appears he's just kind of calmly on his bicycle, and these are images that you're looking at now. We should point out that the authorities blurred out some of the pedestrians who are walking the street. They also shared some images, surveillance footage of him placing 2 of those coolers, and in those coolers were IEDs, and officials are saying that it's likely his inexperience that prevented him from detonating those IEDs. Meanwhile, officials are also tracing his long travel history, both domestically and abroad. Take a listen.
This investigation is crossing state and international borders as our agents follow leads in Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Tampa, Florida, and internationally.
And Alex, officials are saying that they are combing through a lot of evidence. They are getting tips from all across the country. So far, they have recovered 2 firearms, as well as a privately made silencer. We also heard a little bit more about the chemicals that were found at those 2 homes, the home registered to Jabbar back in Houston, as well as the short-term rental here in the New Orleans area. They said that they discovered a chemical known as RDX, which is common and available in the United States. The mayor was also pressed about security here in New Orleans, especially on Bourbon Street. In the wake of this attack, she says that they are confident they will secure the areas. In fact, she said that they are going to ask a technical expert this week to come in to review some of those vulnerable targets and ask for infrastructure activation starting tomorrow. Of course, this comes ahead of the Super Bowl next month. Mardi Gras also coming up as well, and the presidential visit tomorrow. He will be here along with the First Lady to grieve with those who are mourning the 14 lives lost.
Cooler at Bourbon and St. Peter Street at 1:53 a.m. Someone on Bourbon Street, who we have no reason to believe was involved, dragged the cooler a block to Bourbon and Orleans, where our teams found it after the attack.
Since this app is getting banned, fuck it. Hydrating yourself, you have to drink food coloring. If you have a headache, you need to eat food coloring. If you want a mouthwash, you have to mouthwash with food coloring. Brush your teeth with food coloring. Sweat less with food coloring. Wash your body with food coloring. In America, this should only be acetaminophen. But only here do we add all of these extra random ingredients to the concoction. Always food coloring. Dye your hair with food coloring. Wash your clothes with words that none of us can even read. Snack on food coloring, multiple food colorings, of course. We can drink microplastics. When you break down everything in this aisle, it's just oil, salt, and some sort of carbohydrate mixed with a ton of hyperpalatable ingredients that are no good for you. If you need energy drinks, there's something underlying that's wrong. Or candy, same thing for children until you get older and understand the effects on gut health. Cookies are actually not even real food. It's just sugar and junk. Now they're even freeze drying our candy to make us think it's better for us. If you actually look at the ingredients on these versus these, they're the exact same. Eat some foaming Skittles. Nuts and seeds could and would be good for you if you didn't buy them in America, because this should be a cashew with rosemary and sea salt. But it's a cashew with sugar, peanut oil, silicone dioxide, anti-caking agents. Like, what are we doing? So out of this entire aisle, you have regular almonds. Everything else is not even food. You have one option. Same thing, your crackers, your snacks, your cookies, your chips, no options. Imagine if everyone in the world knew, wow, that's the only healthy thing in this entire aisle. We have turned actual fruits and vegetables into juice drinks, stripping them of a majority of their nutrients. You see, proudly baked in the USA. Of course it was, because it's going to contain a bunch of food coloring. We're in another aisle of just food coloring, grains, and oils. I mean, this one's so colorful it's crazy, but it cools your mouth. Wonder what ingredient they're using over here to cool our mouth. Well, that's right, probably banned ingredients. You got your yummy non-omega-3 fatty acid oils, which yes, you need omega-6 and omega-9, that's normal, but they use that and all the other things that have the bad ingredients. We have Jello, which is going to contain maltodextrin, acesulfame, aspartame, and food coloring. But remember, it's because it's an American company. So you can see, American company, sucralose, HFCS, high fructose corn syrup. So here's where it comes together. You have Heinz, an American company. There's your HFCS again. Then you come over to the ketchup, and there's your HFCS again. But here you go again, and there you go again. Some of the foods over here are engineered so good that other brands can't wait to get a part of it. But remember, they're always American companies, selling to Americans things that are banned in other countries. So based on everything that you've just seen, with boxes of corn syrup, end caps of supposedly edible, do you really think they're banning it because it's a national security risk? Yeah, imagine everybody walked down the grocery store aisle and didn't buy a single one of these foods because they knew that only the large corporations can afford to be sitting on the end cap, because then they can be loaded with a bunch of ingredients that aren't good for you as a human, because they're all just creating different forms of the same thing. So why would all of these companies in the United States of America want an app banned in the United States of America? I think you know the answer to that question. See you on my other platforms, I guess.
Look how she chick. Oh, she's trying to run.
Get in the car.
What up, y'all? I'm gonna be talking fast because I'm finna talk to y'all about something that I ain't really talked to people about, man. And I ain't gonna lie, back then it was mainly out of fear, man. And we used M-Space back then, so we didn't have the capability for y'all to verbally communicate and respond to me in real time, man. And I'm just finna tell y'all something, man, that explained a lot of my gifts, man. And I want y'all to understand how it came to be where I can like see in spirit, walk in spirit. It's always been a gift I had since I was a little kid. My grandma called me and my brother seers, you know what I'm saying? Both of us was September. Both of us would have dreams of stuff to come. I ain't gonna get into all that, but I'm gonna let y'all know what heightened it and what triggered it. In 2004, as y'all can see, I got out of the military. They gave us a bunch of shots, man. Y'all save this video and y'all make sure y'all spin it, save it, repeat it, research so y'all can help me figure out what exactly happened to me, okay? But anyway, they done a bunch of tests, man, because they were trying to combat anthrax, right? Nobody knew what anthrax really was. So they gave us these sticks, right? They stuck us with the jabs and they were trying to combat anthrax, and everyone's lower half of their body stopped working. So they put us on bed rest for 24 hours. I was 13 Fox, Fort Sill, Oklahoma. You understand? Y'all, this is about to get a lot deeper, but I need to tell somebody, man, I'm getting old, bro. So I'm finna share what I know while I can. After being on bed rest for 24 hours, everybody's leg starts back working. Next day, I'm in the chow line. That's where we go to eat, you know, etc. We're getting our food, etc. I start vomiting, couldn't stop. Chest pains, couldn't stop. Cramps, couldn't stop. Mind foggy. Everything was going in and out. The sun, the light outside is going from night to day, man. I black out. Bam, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I'm out like a light, y'all. I wake up in the hospital. I had been there for 70 days. The chaplain tells me they're going to have to give me a medical honorable discharge because I had developed something called pericarditis and acute bronchitis. Y'all understand? This was from them giving us the anthrax injections, but that's not what I'm talking about. I need y'all to know what I remembered that happened to me that they don't know I remembered, but I just act like I had no memory because they asked me, do you have any memory, anything you want to talk to us about? And I told them no, because I felt like if I agreed and told them, yeah, I remembered something, it was going to end badly. You understand? So I told them, no, I didn't remember nothing. I just passed out and woke up there and didn't remember nothing. I just act like I didn't remember, y'all. So listen, record this immediately, y'all. Keep it. I don't know how this gonna play out, but y'all just keep it. You understand? I have a vivid memory of what took place during those 70 days that I was blacked out, okay? They took us somewhere underground in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. All right? And they put bags over our head. And they asked all of us questions that none of us could possibly know. They would ask us stuff. What's going on in Iraq? What's going on here? What's going on? Yada, yada, yada. There would be 30 of us. All of us that got those answers correct, they would move us into a group of 15. Then they would ask us questions like, what happened here? What happens here? What's about to happen here? All of us that got those answers correct, they put us in a smaller group of 15. Then they asked more questions. Eventually, we got down to a group of 3. When they put us in the group of 3, I took a chance, y'all, and I ran for it. I broke through, you know what I'm saying? Ran out the back way. And I saw we were at some facility hidden in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, okay? I am 13 Fox. They called us the Eyes of Death, or Death from Above. That's what my MOS was, you understand? But anyway, this is all me remembering what happened as a dream, but I remember this very vividly, what took place, but I didn't tell them I remembered because I felt like something was going to happen if I said that I remembered. So y'all please take this video, save it, okay? With that being said, they were spraying something in our faces that was making us go in and out of consciousness, you understand? Every time I went out, I would see from a bird's eye view down at the world, and I could literally pinpoint psychically where I saw something happening at a certain time when this happened, okay? And this program, y'all, immediately look this up for me, y'all. I'm about to give y'all the name of it, of what they were calling it. This was called the Delphi program, okay? And from what I understand, the reason they called it the Delphi program is because it had something to do with Delphi oracles. Something to do with Delphi oracles. I know this sounds crazy, y'all, but I'm just telling y'all straight up what happened to me. I got the paperwork here. It was called the Delphi program, and they was doing this to brothers, you know what I'm saying? And the Delphi program was using people like me to try and psychically spy on things we would no way and no how know about. What I found out, y'all, after I got out was I had developed something called sleep apnea. You guys have this. It's when you guys fall asleep and you can't move because you feel like some type of entity is holding you down. Don't look at that as fear, y'all, because this is something which is the entry phase until the other realm, if I can explain it to y'all. This realm is the access panel to everything around us where we are now, okay? In this realm, you can see things and know things without actually physically being there, but you're there in energy form. This is why I tell people everything is good, bad. Don't look at it as good as bad. Look at it as negative, positive. Okay? Good is good, sin is negative. You understand? But anyway, listen, back to where I was at. I snuck out with my results also. Check this out. It says, service medical records show March 15, 2004 show that you were seen for complaints of vomiting, stomach cramps, and chest pain. You were diagnosed with acute bronchitis and pericarditis. A chest x-ray showed that you had cardiomegaly, and you were referred for further testing. The EKG was normal. The echocardiogram, however, revealed the left atrium was at the upper limits of normal, and the pulmonic valve showed traces of pulmonic regurgitation, and the right atrium was at the upper limits of normal. This was requested by the Physical Standards Board. Y'all hear me? So now I've been diagnosed with whatever type of heart infection they done gave me, right? After this, y'all, anytime I go to sleep, my heart stops. Sleep apnea now, okay? For like 3 seconds. When those 3 seconds happen, to me, it's like 3 or 4 days. Y'all understand? 3 or 4 days. And I'm literally consciously roaming around in the spirit realm. And I can see things before they happen. I know this sounds crazy, and I know they probably gonna take this down because it's gonna violate some kind of weird community guideline about not being able to post dreams, right? But I'm just giving it to y'all because I ain't got to tell nobody this, because back then we had M-Space, and M-Space wasn't capable of getting this type of information out. Y'all find out what the Delphi program was in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. They are still doing this program. They are searching for people with my type of ability, trying to use us for war purposes. Y'all understand? I can't even believe I'm putting this out there, man, but it's out there. Y'all got this. I'm gonna let y'all do it. You know what I'm doing? Y'all do research. What else should I say, man? What else I got to tell y'all quickly? Now, anytime I go into the spirit realm and I hit that moment where I feel like I can't move, the words to unlock myself in the spirit realm are the words, I am that I am. This is how I became so faithful. Y'all understand? I used the words, I am that I am, and immediately I became unlocked in the spirit realm, which is why I don't really stress about spiritual attacks, because I see them before they come. You understand? I know this sounds crazy, y'all, but y'all, it's 2025 now, and I feel like y'all can understand what I'm telling y'all. Sleep paralysis that y'all are all having is the beginning of y'all's gift activating. Those things that bug you in the middle of the night, those spirits or demons, whatever y'all call them, that come in and mess with you, they're harmless. Their job is to create fear. They create this fear and want you to wake up because they don't want you accessing the spiritual realm. So their sole purpose is to scare you into waking back up. Do y'all understand? They don't want y'all there because you're going to access information that's only out there for the elite. You understand? So these shadow people are the police of the spiritual realm. They want y'all to wake up because they don't want y'all activating. They don't want y'all having this gift. Y'all understand? Not understand. Do y'all understand what I'm telling y'all? I got all kinds of stuff going on in the background around my head, man. Y'all excuse me. I got energies going crazy right now. I'm out here in the field, man, behind my business. But listen, y'all, it's more to... Oh, man, I probably done got myself in trouble, bro. Y'all just save this record, man.
Man, well, he asked the right community to research this. Shout outs to the Odd Topics with Donnell.
That's it. That's all they get.
We might actually be able to talk to our loved ones who've passed away in our lifetime. And this man, Jason Padgett, who is an acquired savant, is going to tell us why it's possible. Jason Padgett is 1 out of 30 acquired savants in the world. Ironically, he was bonked on the head outside a karaoke bar. He basically fell asleep after going to the hospital, being sent home with pain pills, woke up, and he saw reality completely different. He talks about it on the Today Show with Megyn Kelly. Basically, when everything moved, it was once smooth, and now it had little choppy edges, kind of like a flip book with pictures. He happened to be drawing one of these images, these are his, in the mall when a physicist passed him by chance, and said, "Hey, you're drawing the geometrical structure of the universe." Jason went back to school to learn more physics and math, and he also flew to see this man named Dale Trevford, a world-renowned expert on acquired savants, who soon after diagnosed Jason Padgett an acquired savant. Jason basically saw that when you break anything down into pieces, the pieces contain the whole, like a fractum or a hologram. Basically, in a hologram, no matter how many times it breaks, it still contains the whole image. And this is how you make a hologram. This has to do with the holographic universe, which I'll get to. He says there's fractal algorithms from everything from cancer, veins, rivers, brains, all follow this algorithm. Don't worry, I'm getting my point of how you can connect with your loved ones. He's now since came up with many different theories about the universe, black holes. He frequently publishes them. You can look up his work. Lately, he's been theorizing not only that our universe is a living hologram, but that, in fact, in our lifetime, we will be able to tune our minds, our consciousness, into any reality we want, like picking a radio station. And with that comes the spirit realm. Think of each reality like a disc, and you can rearrange the discs, he says, which make you see reality differently. I'm going to try to explain it now as simply as I can. Okay, so the key to this spirit communication and communicating with other realities, I'm going to bring up Neuralink in a second, but it lies in quantum information holography, which is the study of how light encodes data on qubits, and how this intersects with something called a microtubule in your brain, many microtubules. These two things hold the key to us communicating with spirits, experiencing different realities. We're going to talk about this very in depth on our new podcast, and I still have a lot more to tell you, but I'm just doing a little intermission here. It's called Holographic Horizons. You can subscribe on my YouTube. The link is in my bio. We discuss black holes, holographic universe, plasma, consciousness, quantum information holography, and much more. But we will actually go into the science and the metaphysics of contacting these other realities, which Jason calls stream hopping. So yeah, throw us a follow. The link's in my bio, Holographic Horizons on my YouTube. Okay, back to business. The best is yet to come. So Elon Musk Neuralink, please don't change the channel. I have an ulterior suggestion as well as this for my non-techies. This is not the only way, but this is very interesting what I'm about to say. Have an open mind. So Jason thinks that Elon Musk's Neuralink will, in coordination with our microtubules in our brain, shepherd us into seeing new dimensions, new realities, even hear the voices of our loved ones and communicate with them. This stems from a theory called Orca-War theory that is made by the legend Nobel Prize winner Roger Penrose and his collaborator Stuart Hameroff, who runs the Science of Consciousness conference, which I love. Together, this Orca-War theory of consciousness says that consciousness is created by quantum processes in brain neurons in the microtubule. Stay with me. And these microtubules are something called tubulin. And in these tubulin, there are dipoles with a minus end and a plus end. And their theory between these dipoles is an electron cloud, an electron dust cloud, which you could theorize is a plasma. And I think, me specifically, thinks that it is a plasma, and it's the exact process of plasma and consciousness synergizing that connects us to our outer environment, or what I call plasma, which I'll talk about at a different time. Let's just call it energy or some type of wormhole or friggin' quantum computer, whatever. Damn it, my phone went off. Either way, between these two in this very electron dust cloud, cool little mystical thing, is they think where consciousness arises. And Jason thinks you can hack this with Neuralink. to allow us to experience other realities besides our own, which is what is happening. Basically, optically, we are seeing different realities. We're not physically there. Well, we are physically there, but we're mostly seeing it. But we can also experience the full spectrum of senses because it's all connected to this consciousness synergy within our microtubules that's creating our entire experience. And there's microtubules everywhere, which might hint to why it'll be a total experience. Okay, this work is a little complicated. If you follow me on this journey, I swear it'll probably make sense. So the way that the Neuralink or we can change these different realities is by changing the angular frequency. Angular frequency defines the signals that are being broadcast from the singularity, from the black holes that Jason theorizes create this universe. You can call it the fifth dimension in metaphysics. You can call it God, the light, higher consciousness, a higher self. The angular frequency hacks into this singularity or this collective field where all realities exist already. And by tuning the frequency, you can hop and see those other realities that are in the, little TV or the singularity, but will project onto the screen like this and rearranging the discs. So when your microtubule's angular frequency coherently matches to the target reality's angular frequency that you're trying to see, the target reality's frequency, it's like tuning to a television screen where the channel suddenly becomes vivid and real. All of a sudden you're seeing that reality on the TV instead of your other one. Now we just need to figure out what reality we want to visit and how to project that coherent signal on the microtubule with Neuralink or with our consciousness, which I'll explain, or our awareness. And Jason calls this process stream hopping, going between realities, which he thinks will be real. I kind of do too. I do too. The way Jason describes it, angular frequency is like a light clock. Angular frequency tells you how fast an entangled photon and Hawking radiation are spinning on a sphere. Think of it like this is the singularity. This is the event horizon. Sorry, I got cut off. This is the black hole or the singularity. This is the event horizon that's projecting our reality. And this is a photon bouncing in between them, but is also entangled with something called Hawking radiation. These are both mirrors. You can also think of it as like this being the singularity and this being the event horizon, and it's bouncing between or entangled. Either way, magical process going on between these two mirrors. If you haven't seen the connection in this tubulin between the two ends in the middle where the electron cloud was, that same quantum process is going on between them. It's all creating our reality. They're all light clocks. That's why Jason says everything's a light clock. This mysterious process happening between them in the microtubules is exactly what Stuart thinks is consciousness. Jason calls it information. Either way, they're both creating your reality experience, which the Neuralink is going to hack into to make you see different realities. The universe, Jason says, is composed of many of these tiny light clocks on what he calls qubits from quantum information holography, which represent the fundamental pixels of space-time holography, or the screen, the holographic screen, which is what you're seeing with different realities that are being projected. Very interesting, our brains, when you listen to the neurons, sound like little ticking. Jason says those spinning ticks are the angular frequency, just like a light clock. Different angular frequencies are light clocks ticking at different speeds. It's like a metronome ticking back and forth. Now imagine that the universe is a light clock, and instead of a pendulum going back and forth, ticking, it's an arrow of light spinning on a sphere. How fast it spins is how fast the metronome's ticking. This process generates a holographic screen of pixels composed of spinning qubits that generate a volumetric display via Neuralink with their different realities. The holographic screen, the TV. When a bunch of these light clocks are spinning together, that's what a thought is. That's what your experience of reality is. It's a cohesive vibration which makes you experience your reality. Emotions, hearing, all senses. Because the screen you are seeing, what's on it is specifically tuned, or you're tuned to that specific reality. And you're observing it and experiencing it on that screen. The screen stays, but the realities change by this movement here. They still create a screen. Okay, at this point you're like, Neuralink is evil? No. Tool. It's a tool. A tool can be used for good or bad, just like the internet. We wouldn't know half the stuff we know if we didn't have the internet. It's good too. You just have to hope people are ethical. Anything can be corrupted. I think this can help people too and make life fun. So how do we do this without Neuralink? I think the technology is just a crutch. It's kind of like auto-tune for singers who aren't as good. I think we all have the tools naturally. We just have to practice it. And if we're impatient, we get Neuralink. By aligning our consciousness with what I call plasma, which you can learn about in my Plasma Intelligence playlist, we can tap into this feedback loop ourselves, no wires or implants needed, and we'll be able to see different realities and connect with spirits. I'll explain exactly how this works in my upcoming book, A New Force. The link is in my bio to sign up for a notification when it's out. Basically, in my theory, this living plasma shapes our entire universe. It's also the medium for our own connection with the infinite, with consciousness, other consciousnesses, other realities, and we have to align our consciousness with this plasma, which is angular frequency, to tap into this loop, to see different stuff. I think it's really doable. I think it's going to take a lot of work and practice and evolved consciousness, but I really think anyone can do it. But I'm impatient. Neuralink, I don't know, maybe I'll be patient this time since I'm writing about it. Holographic Horizon.
Shout outs to Dana Kipple. This is a fascinating subject. It took a minute to catch on. It feels like an episode of Black Mirror. It's almost like being in a trance.
Gravitic propulsion has the potential to manipulate gravity itself, creating motion by generating or controlling gravitational fields. This means a craft could hover, silently move instantly in any direction, and achieve speeds far beyond conventional technology. Imagine a vehicle that could lift off the ground without wings or rotors, or travel across the globe in minutes without creating a sonic boom. It could also remain completely stationary in midair, unaffected by wind or gravity, making it perfect for exploration or rescue missions in impossible conditions. Often associated with advanced aerospace concepts or UFO theories, the idea envisions capabilities like defying gravity, traveling vast distances, and performing physics-defying maneuvers, potentially transforming space exploration and transportation as we know it.
Those were your choices. Who shot who?
Come on, Lo.
Somebody got shot?
Lo, you good, Lo?
I hope. Y'all good?
And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. If you haven't already, please take a second
just to smash that like, subscribe, ring that notification bell,
just to make sure the algorithm knows what's up. So what we gonna do, y'all? That's right, run these numbers up. Thanks again. Till next time.